What's going on, YouTube? It's the guy Achilles here. I'm bringing you guys a brand new YouTube video here today, and today, guys, I have a different style video for you here today. I'm going to be going over my top 5 most underused / underrated guns in Call of Duty 4. Now, I know some YouTubers have probably done this in the past, but this is just my personal opinion on what I think was truly underused, and I think a lot of you guys will agree with me on these. Maybe not the order, because they're going to go in descending order from 5 to 1. So, if you guys have a different opinion on a gun that I place in the rankings, let me know in the comment section below. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, enjoyed the different style of content, please be sure to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @thegodachilles_. It'll be linked down in the description below, along with a link to my live stream at twitch.tv/thegodachilles and my Discord server. Guys, get in that Discord server. We're going to be reviving these old school Call of Duty games because we're tired of playing Broke Ops, Cold Turd, and Modern Shitfare 19. Anyway, guys, keep this intro short and sweet. We're going to get straight into the video. Alrighty, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started here with this list. So my number 5 pick for the most underused / underutilized weapons in Call of Duty 4 has to go to the USP-45. Now, the USP-45 does have some things going for it. Absolutely zero recoil. It all has. It is all visual recoil. So when you shoot the gun, the bullets will still go in the exact same spot, but you will get visual recoil on your screen, which is hence the term visual recoil. So in actuality, it has no recoil. So it has that going for it. It has good damage. It can 2-shot up close, and it also has a pretty solid fire rate for being a pistol. But when you start looking into the cons of this weapon, is where you start to see why it started getting underused and replaced by the likes of the Desert Eagle. Shorter damage fall off to the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle will 2-shot for longer ranges, making it a way more viable sidearm because you have more range to work with in terms of 2-shot killing if you have to use the Desert Eagle on that source. It does just less damage in general than the Desert Eagle. Now, obviously, you can actually put a silencer on the USP, which is the only attachment you can put on, so it has a little bit more versatility there. But even at that, it still just does less damage. It's just an inferior version of the Desert Eagle. So that's why I would put the USP-45 at number 5 for the most underused / underrated guns. And now we're going to go ahead and get into number 4, which number 4, guys, for me, is the Scorpion. Now, obviously, the Scorpion is not a very good SMG in Call of Duty 4, simply because it's competing with the likes of the AK-74U and the MP5, the two top dogs of the SMG section for its category. But the Scorpion did have some things going for it. It had really solid damage up close. If you were to play to this gun's strengths, it would actually melt up close. And it had absolutely zero recoil. And when I say zero recoil, it had such minuscule recoil. Like I just use the term zero recoil. It had a little bit of side recoil every like 5 or 6 shots. So like you'd shoot 5 shots, then 1 shot would go to the right, then it would go back to being a laser beam. This gun was the easiest gun in the game to use next to the M16. It was not that hard to control its recoil. But the problems that make this gun stand out for me are low magazine size. This gun does not have very many shots in a magazine. I think it's like maybe 20. That is not very much for an SMG. It has a lower fire rate than every other SMG in the category, and for an SMG shooting slower and you're trying to compete with the likes of the AK-74U and the MP5, now you start to see where the issues with the gun make it underused. That doesn't mean that it's completely useless. It just means that this gun truly gets outshined by other guns. And it had a very poor range. The damage fall off for this gun was super, super close. So if you were not in somebody's face, you were pretty much not doing max damage. Which is why guns like the AK-74U and the MP5 absolutely outclass this gun. But I still think the gun was viable just due to the sheer fact that you didn't have to control recoil. In a game where there's no flinch reduction, if you just have a better shot than the person with like an MP5 and you're at like maybe an assault rifle range, I could definitely see the Scorpion winning. But in still most cases, the AK-74U and the MP5 are going to win 90% of the time. So that's my pick for number 4. Number 3, guys, this one may come as a shock to some of you, but number 3 for me is the M14. Now, I might get some flack for this one, but let me explain. The M14 had the most potential in this game to be more broken than the M16. And I say this simply because the M14 can one-shot you to the head. It is the only gun in the game besides a sniper rifle that will one-shot kill you in the head. With stopping power, of course. Okay, but there are some very big glaring issues with the M14, and the biggest one being it is a high skill weapon. This gun takes a lot of time to adjust to actually play to its strengths. Now, if you guys have ever used the M14 in COD 4, you know that it has an insane recoil pattern. It is really, really vertical. Like, after one shot, you're halfway up your screen, so you've got to learn the recoil pattern, be able to control the recoil, which is why I say it's a high skill weapon. If you were able to control this weapon, it is a monster. But the average player is going to just drop this weapon entirely, just due to the sheer fact that the recoil is so high and the M16 exists. Because of that, the M16 is way easier to use. It's more user friendly, which is why more people are going to lean more towards the M16 rather than the M14. But if you could hit consistent headshots or even just consistent 2-shot body shots in a game that has no fire rate cap, the M14 melted, which is why I have it put at number 3, guys. So we're gonna move on to number 2, and number 2 for me, guys, is the Mini Uzi. We're going back to the SMGs. Mini Uzi had a lot going for it. Good fire rate, good damage, good range. The problem with the Mini Uzi lies with its recoil pattern. It was a very odd recoil pattern for an SMG. It started off like side to side and then went vertical, where most guns in the game were either strictly vertical or they went up and to the left or to the right, which is what we were normally used to. So for a gun to start off to the right and the left, it threw a lot of people off, which is why a lot of people dropped the Mini Uzi. And it was also kind of suffering from the same thing the Scorpion was. It's trying to compete in a category that is dominated by the AK-74U and the MP5 in this game, which just did everything. I mean, the Mini Uzi has the same range as the MP5, but since it has a weird recoil pattern, it has a slightly more recoil than the MP5, it was just worse than the MP5. Which is why I can't say that it's not a bad gun. Like, if you've used this gun, you know it's not a bad gun. You can definitely get some Heiko games with it. You can definitely do well with this gun. It's just not the most optimal if you're looking to do well consistently. Okay? So, guys, before I get you to the number 1 most underrated / underused gun in COD 4, in my opinion, I have a couple two honorable mentions I want to throw in here. Okay? First honorable mention, the R700. Guys, the R700 is literally the same thing as the M40A3, which is why I think it just got overshadowed. People were just already used to the M40A3, and a lot of people say the R700 was more awkward to use than the M40A3 just due to the scope in mechanic. And, well, for that, a lot of people dropped the weapon. They would just go back to the M40A3, or they would wait to get the 50 cal. Is the R700 bad in any way? No. It has the same damage stats across the board as the M40A3. It's literally just a different M40A3. The problem is it just felt more awkward to use, which is why I think a lot of people just dropped it entirely. And they're just like, I'll just go back to the M40A3, or I'll go back to using the 50 cal. Okay? The second honorable mention is the G3, guys. Now, the reason I couldn't include the G3 in this list is because I saw the G3 way more than any of these guns that I've previously mentioned. The G3 was just a good, solid, all-around semi-automatic rifle. Low recoil, higher fire rate, 3-shot kill. Now, that 3-shot kill for a weapon that's semi-automatic sounds kind of slow, but truly it's not. I think you only get 3-shot kill if you're at extreme far ranges or if you have a silencer on it, so I do still think that it will 2-shot kill you without a silencer. But I saw this gun more than I saw the likes of the M14, the Mini Uzi, the Scorpion, and the USP-45. You can kind of chalk it up to you unlock this gun relatively early, and people are like, oh hey, the G3, it's a semi-auto, it's kind of different. So I guess you could chalk that up to that, but I truly think that this gun is just a better, you could argue that it's a better M14, simply because it's more user friendly. It takes more shots to kill, less high skill, but that's where the user friendly comes in. So guys, that's the two honorable mentions I would like to put in. And the last gun, my number one choice for the most underrated / underused gun in COD 4. Are you ready? This should come as a shock to nobody, guys. It's the G36. The G36 was so slept on in this game. And the reason it was slept on is because, let's be honest guys, this is COD 4. You get the M16 and the M4 right off the rip. The two first assault rifles you get are the two best in the game. I might get flack from a lot of people for saying that. Let's be honest here, guys. The M16 is arguably the best gun to ever grace Call of Duty. With its super consistent TTK being super fast, the M16, the COD 4 implementation of the M16 is just iconic. It's always going to be in everyone's minds overpowered. But the G36 had some things going for it, guys. It had a solid fire rate, a really manageable recoil pattern. It even had the fastest reload animation out of all the assault rifles. I think the problem where the G36 ran into was its slower TTK, because it would kill slower than the M16, obviously. And it had more recoil than the likes of the M4 or the AK-47, right? So, another thing I'd like to add there is this gun is also unlocked relatively later in the game. I think it's like 4 to 5 weapons in on the unlock list for the assault rifles. So, at that point, you already have a kitted out M4, a kitted out M16. You're like, why would I ever use the G36? And I think that's why this gun got slept on and was not used or utilized as much in COD 4. So guys, let me know down in the comments section below what you guys think, anything that you guys would change on my tier list, what weapons you would move up, what weapons you would move down, what weapons you would change entirely. Let me know down in the description below. I'd like to hear from you guys. This whole video was only made because you guys suggested it to me through my Twitch chat. You guys told me you wanted to listen to my opinion on top 5s. Top 5 guns for certain COD games. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, I'm going to run down the tier list. Number 5, or not the tier list. This is the top 5 most underrated guns. It is number 5, the USP. Number 4 is the Scorpion. Number 3 is the M14. Number 2 is the Mini Uzi. And number 1, or number 5, if you're counting up, is the G36. Anyways, guys, take it easy. Have a good rest of your day or night, wherever you are, and I'll see you when I upload again.